All right, so this new episode of The Arrow, episode 8, The Brave and the Bold. I like the little callback to the show. I didn't bring this up with The Flash because I already talked about so much over there. And so a lot of the things can be repeated here. So I'll just switch that with something new. And that's the whole creating a whole DC universe in the TV series anyway. And with The Arrow, and The Flash, and maybe others. Who knows? I can understand why they're doing it, and I can actually admire the steps they're taking, because it does seem like a very interesting world and just getting larger and larger. But at the same time, it's a very risky thing to do because not everyone watches both shows. One person might like The Arrow but might not like The Flash. One person might like The Flash but not like The Arrow. And there'll be people like me who watch both of them and enjoys both of them. And for us, that's fine because we like seeing the whole universe connected. We like seeing that both heroes exist in the same world and are still doing what they do, knowing of each other. But at the same time, when you create episodes that are crossovers and that also kind of connect to the episode from the other series, it's very risky because for the people who don't watch The Flash, they'll be kind of lost about what happened in The Flash because apparently these two episodes are connected. And the people who watch, only The Flash will be confused about what The Arrow is doing because, apparently that's something. There's something going on over there. You're like, why are they here? Why are they talking about the boomerang? What's going on? But either way, I admire them for the steps they're taking. I like having a universe being connected and everything. It's just very risky, and it could be done with, proper writing. And for the most part, they do properly write these two episodes separately, and that both of them don't necessarily need to be watched together. But either way, it's just something to think about. And speaking of boomerangs, the villain of this episode, while interesting in his background, really wasn't interesting with his battle style. Because realistically, I don't care how good you are at throwing and catching a boomerang, that is probably the most ineffective weapon to kill people with. I mean, really? A boomerang? I mean, I know he's throwing them like willy-nilly and catching them at the same time, killing some people. But at the same time, if you know a boomerang always comes back, why are you going to be worried about if you're going to get hit or not? It's like, oh, there it is. I dodged it. There you go. Of course, he could be throwing 2, 3, or even 4 boomerangs at a time, and he only needs to catch one of them, and the others can get stuck in your back. I have no idea. But again, personally, I think a boomerang would be very ineffective. But it's very fun to see him. But his motive is very generic at the same time. It's like, I used to be work for you, but then you threw me away like trash, so now I want revenge. Pretty basic villain stuff. And at the same time, it's nice to think that he was part of the Suicide Squad, so he had some interaction with the other members. So maybe that'll come back in the future, or maybe not, because now he's in the island prison off all the way over there in the China Sea. So again, I don't know. Either way, his whole point was to go after Diggle's wife because she's the one who made the call about killing him and his team. And for the most part, he's technically succeeds, but at the same time, no, he doesn't really do anything. But again, that's pretty much his point, with the exception of the bombs all over the city, which I'll get to that later. But either way, despite him being the major plot of this episode, I really think it was more the Arrow and Flash interaction, because both of them are just great superheroes, and to see them back to back like this is amazing. Either way, it's great to see their ideologies conflict, because on one end we have Oliver, who's kind of had to survive for the last 8 years, even though he's hasn't been on the island for the last 3. But either way, he still has to do some extreme stuff to get the job done. I like how he says, in order to stop extreme people like most villains, we have to take extreme measures. We have to be bold enough to do what's necessary. But that doesn't necessarily mean we can't have people like Barry who were just naively brave, and that's fine. Both of them are needed to kind of balance things out. We can't have everyone doing the dark stuff and not have anyone doing the more, uplifting and inspirational things like Barry. And that's fine. I like that. I also like how it's mentioned that maybe the metahumans is the world's way of saying, here's a light of hope, that maybe we're not forced to be as dark and brooding as before, because now we have these metahumans to handle problems that we usually wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And again, I do like that, but at the same time, most metahumans have been evil so far, so maybe it's not all that good. So I'm just saying. At the same time, I did like how they said that because they've only ever, dealt with metahumans, it just always seemed like a game to them. Like they're playing a video game. They're not really in any danger. That doesn't seem as real, even though it's right there in front of their face. And I did like that because it doesn't show that just because someone immediately comes out with powers doesn't mean you'll automatically grasp the reality and the weight of it all. You'll just be like, oh wow, he can control fire, he can control ice, that's amazing. You'll be watching from the screen, it's like a fucking video game. But eventually, your mind's gonna catch up with you and think, actually, that's very dangerous. That's very deadly. Realistically, this is bad. This is a very bad development. So I did like that. And I did like the comedy, though. I mean, the comedy from the Flash being brought into the Arrow is a nice touch. Like I said with the Flash, to see the Arrow's drama and more darker themes show up in the Flash, was great to see, because it just showed that the Flash needed some of that to be more successful, or at least more enjoyable and more interesting. And it's nice to see that even Arrow needs a little bit more uplifting moments and comedy to balance it out too. So that's fine. I like seeing that both of them need a little something from each other. And some of the comedy is hilarious, especially with the bombs that Captain Boomerang, apparently that's what he's called now, he put bombs all over the city. And Flash's solution is to take everyone and pretty much set one of them each with a bomb. It's like, okay, here's your bomb, here's your bomb, here's your bomb, and here's your bomb. So, we gotta turn them all at the same time. If one of them goes off or one of them is disabled, the other ones go off. So at the same time, I like how Roy is the first one, and he just grabs him and puts him right next to the bombs, and Roy just like, he immediately goes to the bag. He's like, okay, I got the bomb ready. But me, I would have been like, the fuck, you put me in front of a bomb. Do I at least have anything to cut it with? To cut the wires with? Come on. But, that would have been me. I was like, you put me in the line of fire. What if I fuck up? See, I'm dead. Thanks a lot, Flash. But, I'm guessing that's a bit of the comedy. And either way, it was great, with Flash and Arrow working together, and at the same time, they didn't really, give up anything about how they handled their villain. Flash still didn't have to torture anyone. He still didn't have to, get anyone hurt, but he still accomplished this goal of saving everyone with the whole bomb thing. And Arrow still, got to torture his opponents, which is something that he needs to do in order to protect lives, because as he said, extreme measures sometimes need to be taken to save people. And I like how, while they did compromise in that maybe they aren't exactly forced to follow this set path, they're not really gonna change because they found a method that works for them and they're gonna stick with it. And the episode ending with Arrow and Flash sort of fighting, to see who's better, but no real conclusion, I guess it's kind of fine. We're not gonna get an answer to that little fight, but it's nice to see that they're friendly enough to come on, a little competition between the both of us. Let's see who's better. But either way, this was a great episode, just like the Flash was. I mean, it's always nice to see both of these guys work off each other because they're great characters individually, and they're even better as a team. And I'm hoping for future team-ups, in the future. Not anytime soon, because we got enough of that for now. I don't want to, be suffocated with it. But either way, great episodes of Arrow and the Flash working great together. I mean, just fantastic. I love seeing this mixed universe, and ultimately I can't wait for the next episode of for both shows. Either way, I'm Tony Dragon. Bye bye.